to That One Time with Adam Metwally at the beautiful Music for a While studio. This week's episode is with Andrés Preschel, and we'll be going to get to know him over the next 10 minutes ahead of the full episode later on this week. Hi, Andrés. Thank you for joining me.
It's a pleasure to be here, man.
It's a pleasure to have you. So who are you? What are you best known for? And for somebody who doesn't know you, why should they listen?
So my name is Andrés Preschel. I am an extremely curious guy. I love to learn how things work. By trade, I'm a scientist. I'm a physiologist, a neuroscientist. I'm a health coach to very self-aware, very ambitious high performers worldwide. These include everything from Fortune 500 CEOs to world-class athletes, including Le Mans racing champions, World Series of Poker champions, US Open tennis champions. And all of this came to be, all this, influence that I get to have now, and the leader I get to be, the way I get to show up in the world, all of this came to be from being at a period of deficit in my life where I was taking medication that took me away from this authentic way of being. I was on Adderall for 10 years and I reinforced something about myself that wasn't consistent with who I really was. And I realized today that a lot of our so-called inadequacies can really be superpowers. And we can bring that about by honoring ourselves, by living a life that's consistent with our evolutionary design, and by choosing to be authentic and to be who we really are. Now, that's easier said than done, but my superpower is helping people step into their excellence by acknowledging the way that they're designed, by acknowledging their science, and how all of this unlimited access that we have to information nowadays fits into their unique context.
Great. So what was the first time you realized you could manage ADHD without medication?
The first time that I realized I could do that was during a summer break that I had while I was a high school student. I did a program in neuroscience at a local university, and the program happened to be in neuroscience. I originally signed up to do a program in viruses, and for whatever reason, they canceled that program and we were shifted into neuroscience. And so I happened to engage with that material, and I came across the concept of neuroplasticity. Because I was on a summer break, I wasn't on Adderall, I wasn't on the medication, and so I was able to sleep, and I was learning about all these mechanisms that elicit neuroplasticity while in an environment that is designed for neuroplasticity. So I had unlimited access to the gym, the dining hall, social life, and I was able to sleep. And within a couple of weeks, I was able to do things with my brain that I never thought were possible. I felt confident for the first time in my life. I was gaining muscle. I felt energized naturally, and I felt at peace and present. And that's when I first realized, like, my brain just needs a little bit of help. It needs a nudge. And I got to appreciate a sense of agency that I had over my well-being. I thought I had a broken brain. I thought I was mentally handicapped, and that was just my reality. And for the first time, I realized there was a way out.
Great. So what is the most impactful thing somebody listening today could do to manage ADHD without medication?
I'd say number one is get better sleep. Number two, which is, these are, as you can imagine, these are huge topics that we can dive into. Number two would be limiting instant gratification and learning to fall in love with the art of delayed gratification.
What's one opinion that would make people either scratch their head or get angry in regards to managing ADHD?
This is a very controversial take, but I think inevitably when you take something like Adderall to manage ADD, you are reinforcing an inadequacy that can be alleviated by lifestyle changes that you are inherently dismissing as a result.
What's the biggest myth in ADD management that you can debunk in 10 seconds?
The biggest myth that I can debunk about ADHD?
Either.
Well, look, survivorship bias aside, I think ADHD is a superpower.
If you could only listen to one song for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Probably, and this is hilarious. If anyone here plays this song, you'll just think I'm a freak. But it's probably going to be either Territorial Pissings by Nirvana or Blood and Thunder by Mastodon.
Okay. I don't know either of those, so I'll have to listen.
Yeah, those are great. They're very intense.
Yeah, I bet. I bet Macedon's intense.
Yeah.
For sure. So what book has changed your life the most?
I can't just say one. I mean, if I had to pick one, I would probably say The Almanac of Naval Ravikant, A Guide to Wealth and Happiness. I'd say, very similar book and theme, The 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss. He actually wrote the foreword for The Almanac of Naval Ravikant. And then I would also suggest for any ambitious person that wants to learn to fall in love with the art of doing and becoming anything, to be great at anything, to really fall in love with that process, delayed gratification. Chop Wood and Carry Water by Joshua Metcalf.
What's a sub $100 purchase that you've made that has had a big impact on your life?
A sleep mask.
What kind? Any
like
specific
a really
one?
good one. I think it's called the Pro Sleep Mask Pro by Manta Sleep.
Yeah, another one.
It's made of like silver fibers and antimicrobial, and you can adjust it. And oh my God, that sleep mask is amazing. I take it with me everywhere.
Yeah, I've got like 4 or 5 Manta ones. I got the little ice pack one.
Oh, nice.
I forgot about it and I haven't used it properly.
Yeah,
but
this is like a $70 sleep mask.
Yeah, it's not
I've
cheap.
had to buy a few because my dog will destroy them when I'm not home for too long.
Probably smells you.
Yeah. He likes to destroy those.
Yeah.
I had to hide them.
Yeah. What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
From my mentor, Moises Roisenthal, Harvard doctor, double board certified. He told me, you will never regret more education. I'll never forget that.
What's one app that everybody should download on their phone?
Oh my God, great question. 1.sec, like a period in between. 1sec, it's going to help you be more mindful of your screen time and actually enable systems that prevent you from unconsciously going on these apps that are distracting you, like Instagram, for example. You realize how often you go on your phone and you just, like, you end up on Instagram. You're like, how did I even get here? Like, I want to use my phone for something else. Like, this app will help you be more mindful of that and will actually help prevent unwanted use of apps that are wasting your time and, more importantly, wasting away your quality of life, because you're depleting dopamine and you're reinforcing this like instant gratification addiction. So 1sec, oh my God, can't recommend it enough. Incredible. And it has other features like a permanent porn blocker. This is like lots of fun stuff in there to play around with.
I use Opal.
Opal's great too.
Opal's good.
Me personally, I found Opal almost had like too many features.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know. There was like too much going on in Opal. I love 1sec.
Yeah. I fully agree with you. It's funny. Since I started asking this question in this rapid fire, probably 60% of people have said something to stop the phone.
So yeah, somebody stopped the phone. Really? Yeah. Makes sense.
Which is kind of wild.
It's the most powerful tool that we have access to. Like this tool alone can change your life, and it will change the lives. It can change the lives of millions of people. Like, think about how many people on Instagram, for example, have amassed millions of followers and they just make videos with their phone. Dude, I make my entire living off my phone. I have a thriving business and community thanks to my phone. But it is also the most dangerous tool because you have access to anything that you could ever want. Not always good things.
Especially with trying to minimize your cheap dopamine and get away from ADHD.
Yeah, exactly.
Symptoms, so.
Oh yeah. If you've got any sort of ADHD or predisposition, whatever, like, you have to be extremely mindful. I'll show you once we get into the show how I've set up my phone for productivity.
Yeah, great. Who's the most famous person's contact you have? Maybe Instagram connection, whatever, and how did you get it?
I guess it could be maybe Romero Britto. He's a good friend of mine. He's the most licensed artist of all time. He's prolific. We met, so my attorney had a client, this dentist, who had a Britto. So this dentist worked on Britto and his family. He did all their teeth. And then Britto made artwork. Like he basically drew and painted his family. And my friend, the attorney, Ken, he went to his friend, the dentist, and he said, hey, we should have Britto over to come sign this at my place. And then, because Ken also owned some Brittos. So basically, they invited all these people over to his place, and Ken told me, because I just started my podcast, Ken told me, he's like, hey, come over tonight, meet Britto, and I don't know, see what happens. You know, he knows I'm an ambitious guy, entrepreneur, have this podcast, whatever. So I came and I met Britto, and dude, I mean, you know, this is a podcaster, like having a podcast is one of the best ways to get in your foot in the door and just an excuse to like talk to people, you know? So I was talking to Britto, super fun guy, super happy, incredible human being. Seriously, like what a guy. I was talking to him, and dude, at this point I had only published 2 episodes, but I was like, hey, I have this great podcast, Britto. I'd love to have you on. We'll talk about the science of happiness. And we had a killer podcast in his art warehouse. It's like a 60,000 square foot warehouse. Wow. It's the biggest art warehouse in the world. It's unbelievable. And we became great friends. And then, you know, since then I've actually gone over to his warehouse to cook lobster that I caught myself, you know, in Miami. I have had the chance to hang out with him multiple dinners. Recently we were hanging out for his son's birthday. So we had an awesome dinner at an Italian restaurant in Miami Beach. And we're great friends. We've become incredible friends.
Yeah.
So he's probably, number one, most famous.
That's a good story. I like that.
Yeah. Thanks.
Nice
for asking.
Of course. And what's the strangest compliment you've ever received?
Strangest. So I'd say one of the stranger compliments I've received, I was like at a lobby at this building, and I was speaking to the receptionist, and we're just having a conversation. I was trying to go see a friend of mine, and she was like basically giving me the rundown of how it would work because he needs to come down, whatever. Just a basic conversation with the receptionist about like how I'm gonna go see my friend. And she just like stopped, like she just like looks at me. She goes, "Wait, sorry, like your skin looks like, what is it? Porcelain?
Yeah,
like
porcelain.
Dude, yeah, porcelain." Like I'm just like staring at her in the eye, and she's like, "Your skin looks like porcelain." And I was like, "Isn't that what like fine China is made with?" She's like, "Yeah." I was like, "All right." All right, thanks, I guess. It's like I'll take the compliment, you know?
Yeah, compliment's a compliment.
Yeah.
You know? And my last question to wrap up the rapid fire is, what's one of the craziest stories you've been a part of that makes you still go, wait, that happened?
It's a great question, because this happens to me every day. Really weird stuff happens to me on a daily basis.
That's okay. We'll
come back to it.
Yeah.
We'll come back to it.
Come back to it in the actual episode. If you got some banger note, we can talk about it. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I'll see you on the other side.
Yeah.